Across the globe, whispers of forgotten civilizations and enigmatic objects echo through the corridors of time. Artifacts that defy explanation, relics that challenge our understanding of history itself, perfectly crafted blades that have remained sharp for millennia, strange symbols etched on ancient discs, their meanings lost to the ages, structures built with a precision we still struggle to comprehend, and objects with properties that seem to bend the very laws of nature. Join us as we delve into 20 of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries ever found. Prepare to have your perceptions of the past challenged. The secrets they hold are waiting to be unearthed. In the vast and often sandy embrace of Egypt, a land steeped in pharaonic grandeur and timeless mysteries, archaeologists have unearthed countless artifacts that whisper tales of a civilization, both sophisticated and enigmatic. While the colossal pyramids and intricate tomb paintings often steal the limelight, there exist smaller, equally perplexing objects that continue to challenge our understanding of ancient Egyptian ingenuity. Among these stand the Sabu disc, an artifact of peculiar design, and across the ancient world in China, the Gujian sword, a blade that defied the corrosive touch of time. The story of the Sabu disc begins in the year 1936, amidst the meticulous excavations led by the renowned British Egyptologist Walter Bryan Emery. His focus lay on the necropolis of Saqqara, a sprawling burial ground that served the ancient capital of Memphis. It was within the tomb of Prince Sabu, a noble figure from Egypt's very early dynastic period circa 3100 to 3000 BC, that Emery and his team encountered an object that seemed utterly out of place. Amongst the familiar pottery, jewelry, and tools befitting a royal interment, in a small, unassuming chamber, resting quietly, was a disc carved from a single block of schist, a soft yet layered stone. Approximately 61 centimeters in diameter, the Sabu disc was remarkably thin and surprisingly fragile. Its design was utterly unique, a central hole surrounded by three gracefully curved, evenly spaced blades that tapered delicately towards a slender outer rim. Imagine a steering wheel crossed with a propeller, a form more akin to modern mechanical components than ancient Egyptian funerary goods. The craftsmanship was undeniably advanced, hinting at a mastery of stone carving that seemed beyond the conventional understanding of the era. The precise curves and perfect symmetry suggested a level of technical skill that continues to intrigue engineers and artisans today. The Sabu disc quickly became a focal point of intense speculation. Its purpose remained elusive, sparking a wide array of theories. One of the most prevalent interpretations suggests a ceremonial or symbolic function. Ancient Egyptian culture was deeply intertwined with symbolism, and many artifacts held meanings that transcended their practical use. The disc's unique form might have represented a ritualistic vessel or an emblem of a specific belief system. However, proponents of this theory often struggle to find explicit symbolic parallels in known Egyptian iconography. Unlike many ceremonial objects adorned with hieroglyphs or recognizable religious motifs, the Sabu disc bears no such markings, leaving its symbolic meaning deeply concealed or perhaps irretrievably lost. Another line of thought proposes a more practical application, suggesting the disc might have been a component of a larger mechanical device. Its balanced shape and curved blades evoke the image of a fan or propeller, leading some to theorize that it could have been attached to a central axle and rotated as part of an ancient mechanism, perhaps for ventilation or mixing. While this idea is captivating, it lacks supporting archaeological evidence. No other mechanical devices or rotating artifacts from this early period in Egypt have been discovered, rendering this hypothesis largely speculative. On a more conservative note, some archaeologists suggest the Sabu disc was simply a decorative object, a testament to the skill and status of the artisan and the wealth of the deceased. Ancient Egyptians certainly valued aesthetically pleasing objects, but the sheer complexity and delicate nature of the disc seem excessive for mere ornamentation. Why invest such intricate craftsmanship in something purely decorative that would be hidden within a tomb? Intriguingly, modern engineers and stone carvers who have attempted to replicate the Sabu disc using only techniques and tools believed to have been available in ancient Egypt have encountered significant challenges. Achieving the precise curves, uniform thickness, and overall balance has proven incredibly difficult, even with modern equipment. This raises profound questions about the true capabilities of early Egyptian artisans and suggests their mastery of stone carving might have been far more advanced than currently appreciated. Today, the Sabu disc resides in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, a silent enigma displayed behind glass, captivating visitors with its strange elegance and defying any definitive explanation. Across the vast expanse of time and geography in the heart of ancient China, another artifact emerged from the earth, remarkable not for its unusual shape, but for its extraordinary preservation. In 1965, near Jingzhou in Hubei province, archaeologists excavating a tomb dating back to the spring and autumn period 771 to 476 BC, associated with the ancient state of Chu, unearthed the Gujian sword. While many artifacts from this era typically bear the heavy scars of corrosion, this bronze sword was found in a state of remarkable preservation, nestled within a tightly sealed wooden scabbard in the tomb chamber alongside other bronze and jade artifacts. The sword itself is approximately 55 centimeters in length and weighs just under a kilogram. Crafted from bronze, it had retained an astonishing degree of sharpness after being buried for some 2,500 years. Initial examinations revealed that the blade could effortlessly slice through stacks of paper, a testament to a sharpness rarely found in ancient bronze artifacts. Furthermore, its surface showed minimal signs of corrosion, an anomaly that intrigued researchers. Careful analysis of the sword's metallic composition revealed the secrets behind its resilience. It was forged from a bronze alloy primarily composed of copper, with smaller amounts of tin and trace elements of lead, iron, and sulfur. Metallurgical studies suggest that this specific combination played a crucial role in its resistance to rust and the preservation of its sharp edge. While this level of metallurgical knowledge was advanced for its time, similar bronze compositions have been observed in other Chinese artifacts, indicating a sophisticated understanding of metalworking among artisans of that era. Beyond its practical qualities, the Gujian sword boasts intricate decorative features. Its surface is adorned with finely detailed geometric patterns, including diamond-like motifs and symmetrical designs typical of elite bronze objects. From ancient China, near the sword's handle, 8 ancient Chinese characters were clearly engraved. These inscriptions, when translated, read King of Yu made the sword for personal use, definitively linking the artifact to Gujian, the influential ruler of the Yu state who reigned around 496 to 465 BC. This direct historical connection elevates the sword to an invaluable find. For historians studying early dynastic China, King Gujian was a significant historical figure renowned for his resilience and military prowess. Historical texts recount his years of hardship following a defeat by the rival state of Wu and his eventual resurgence to restore Yu's power and prominence. A sword of such exquisite craftsmanship likely symbolized royal authority, wealth, and military might. However, it remains unclear whether Gujian himself wielded this sword in battle, or if it primarily served a ceremonial function as a symbol of his status and power. In the broader context of ancient Chinese weaponry, the Gujian sword shares similarities with other high-status bronze blades discovered in tombs. From the same period, elite burials often included meticulously crafted weapons as indicators of the deceased's high rank. Comparisons with contemporary swords suggest that the Gujian sword's exceptional preservation might be attributed to an extraordinarily favorable burial environment. The tightly sealed wooden scabbard and the stable conditions within the tomb likely played a significant role in limiting its exposure to moisture and air. The ancient metalworking techniques employed to create this sword remain partly shrouded in mystery, but archaeologists recognize the high level of skill possessed by artisans of that period. Bronzesmiths in ancient China had already mastered the manipulation of alloys, carefully controlling furnace temperatures and the mixing of metals to produce strong and durable tools and weapons. While modern technology could replicate the sword's composition today, researchers remain deeply impressed by the precision and consistency achieved by ancient craftspeople working entirely by hand. Currently, the Gujian sword is a prized exhibit in the Hubei Provincial Museum, displayed under carefully controlled conditions to ensure its continued preservation. Visitors can view this tangible piece of Chinese history behind protective glass, gaining a profound appreciation for the craftsmanship of a bygone era. Its clear inscriptions and well-documented discovery provide a rare and direct link to a known historical figure, enhancing its immense cultural significance. The sword's discovery also underscores the remarkable capabilities of ancient Chinese metalworkers, highlighting their skill in producing weapons that could withstand the relentless march of time. Yet, certain aspects remain unexplained. Researchers continue to debate why this particular alloy has resisted corrosion so effectively compared to other artifacts found in similar tomb environments. While careful burial and alloy composition likely contributed significantly to its preservation, the precise details of these ancient methods remain partially lost to the mist of time. Without specific written records detailing the sword's production techniques, historians can only piece together the puzzle through analysis and contextual understanding. Today, the Gujian sword stands as a powerful cultural symbol for China, reflecting both the remarkable craftsmanship of its ancient artisan and the complex society that produced it. While its durability and sharpness undoubtedly attract attention, its true value lies in the clear historical connections it provides. As researchers continue to study this extraordinary artifact, they hope to unlock further insights into ancient Chinese metallurgy and craftsmanship, perhaps revealing more about the individuals who forged and wielded these exceptional blades. Moving away from the meticulous metalwork of ancient China, our archaeological journey takes us across the globe to the windswept highlands of Bolivia, a land of breathtaking vistas and ancient secrets. Here, near the shores of Lake Titicaca, lies one of South America's most enigmatic archaeological sites, Puma Punku. This sprawling complex, part of the larger Tiwanaku civilization, captivates historians, archaeologists, and curious visitors with its precisely carved stones and a mysterious architectural style that seems to defy the capabilities of its presumed builders. Situated at an altitude of approximately 3,850 meters above sea level, Puma Punku, meaning door of the Puma in the local Aymara language, stands in stark contrast to the more conventionally constructed areas of Tiwanaku. While Tiwanaku draws crowds with its impressive temples and gateways built from carefully placed, but generally less intricate stones, Puma Punku quietly astounds with its uniquely precise stonework. Puma Punku first drew the serious attention of modern researchers in the early 20th century, although local communities had long been aware of its existence. Archaeologists studying the region quickly recognized that this was no ordinary pre-Columbian ruin. Unlike typical structures of the era, often built from softer stones or sun-dried bricks, Puma Punku features immense stone blocks, meticulously carved from extremely hard materials such as granite and sandstone. Many of these blocks weigh several tons, with some exceeding 100 tons, immediately raising questions about how ancient builders could have possibly transported and shaped them. The most striking characteristic of Puma Punku is the incredible precision of its stonework. Some stones exhibit perfectly straight edges, flawless right angles, and even grooves and holes drilled with a remarkable degree of accuracy. Visitors examining these blocks up close often remark that they resemble stones cut with modern machinery. Indeed, contemporary stonecutters and engineers have expressed astonishment at the site's craftsmanship, acknowledging the immense difficulty in achieving such precision with the technology believed to have been available at the time of its construction. This extraordinary craftsmanship presents historians with a challenging puzzle. The Tiwanaku civilization, which flourished between roughly 500 and 950 AD, is generally credited with the construction of Puma Punku. At its zenith, the Tiwanaku culture was highly sophisticated, known for its agricultural innovations, advanced pottery, and impressive ceremonial centers. However, no direct historical records detailing their construction methods have survived, making it exceptionally difficult to definitively understand how these ancient builders achieved such remarkable precision. This lack of certainty has given rise to a variety of theories, ranging from those grounded in archaeological evidence to more speculative interpretations. Conventional archaeologists propose that the Tiwanaku people employed an impressive combination of hand tools made from copper and bronze, possibly using abrasives like sand to meticulously shape and polish the stones. Large teams of laborers, utilizing ropes, ramps, and sledges, could have been employed to transport and position these massive blocks of feet, requiring careful planning, organization, and perhaps decades of dedicated effort. Yet, the seemingly impossible precision of the stone cutting frequently leads to the emergence of alternative theories. Some have proposed that Puma Punku might be evidence of lost ancient technologies, or even forgotten construction methods that vanished with the collapse of the Tiwanaku civilization. While such speculations often capture public attention, they typically lack robust archaeological support, leaving scholars divided on their credibility. The unusual style and arrangement of the stones also set Puma Punku apart from other structures at nearby Tiwanaku. While the rest of Tiwanaku primarily features large temples, ceremonial platforms, and gateways constructed from carefully placed but generally simplest stones, Puma Punku showcases a unique layout of scattered, highly complex blocks. These stones appear as if they were once part of a sophisticated modular assembly, designed to interlock seamlessly, almost like pieces of a colossal stone puzzle. This has led many researchers to suggest that the site might have served a particularly important or specialized function. Precisely what that function was, however, remains unknown. Archaeologists have widely speculated, suggesting possibilities such as a royal palace, a significant ceremonial complex, an astronomical observatory, or even a highly symbolic religious site. Many of Puma Punku's stones feature intricate carvings and geometric patterns, including shapes that resemble symbols or possibly even early forms of communication. Although their exact meanings remain undeciphered, the sudden abandonment of Puma Punku adds another layer to its mystery. Around the 10th century AD, the Tiwanaku civilization inexplicably collapsed, leaving behind unfinished construction projects and abandoning established settlements. Climate change, drought, internal conflict, and resource depletion are among the most frequently cited reasons by historians studying the fall of Tiwanaku. Yet, without clear historical records, pinpointing the precise cause for this abandonment remains a significant challenge. Today, visitors to Puma Punku can observe partially finished stone blocks and scattered building materials, a silent testament to the abrupt halt of construction. Culturally, Puma Punku holds immense significance in Bolivia, recognized as a crucial heritage site that represents the advanced engineering and organizational capabilities of pre-Columbian civilizations. Its remarkable stones have influenced contemporary Bolivian culture, inspiring admiration for indigenous historical achievements and contributing to national pride. The Bolivian government and various cultural organizations have made concerted efforts to protect and preserve the site, ensuring its continued study and appreciation. The site's unexplained aspects also attract considerable global attention. Documentaries, books, and numerous online forums frequently discuss Puma Punku, each contributing different theories and interpretations. While some of these theories stretch the boundaries of credibility, they reflect the natural human curiosity sparked by these extraordinary stone constructions, capturing the public's imagination and fostering ongoing interest. Comparing Puma Punku to other notable ancient sites worldwide provides valuable context. For instance, structures like Stonehenge in England or the massive stone walls at Sacsayhuaman in Peru also required impressive feats of engineering and organization. Yet, Puma Punku stands out due to its intricate, machine-like precision and its modular appearance, distinguishing it even among these other remarkable ancient sites. Modern technological studies, including laser scanning and detailed archaeological surveys, have offered additional insights, but have yet to provide definitive answers to the site's many mysteries. Researchers using advanced methods confirm the extraordinary precision of Puma Punku's stone carvings, but cannot fully explain how such accuracy was achieved. Today, as archaeologists continue excavations and studies at Puma Punku and the broader Tiwanaku complex, they hope to uncover additional clues that may someday solve its enduring puzzles. Until then, this remarkable Bolivian site continues to captivate, inviting both serious academic inquiry and the casual curiosity of visitors worldwide, each drawn by the same fundamental desire to understand just how and why these ancient stones were shaped, assembled, and ultimately left behind. Shifting away from the high-altitude mysteries of Bolivia, we now journey across the Atlantic and into Europe, specifically to the rolling hills of central Germany. Here, beneath layers of soil and history, archaeologists stumbled upon one of the most intriguing Bronze Age artifacts ever discovered, the Nebraskai disc. Unlike monumental stone structures, the disc's profound significance lies in its detailed depiction of celestial bodies and the enduring mysteries surrounding its origin and intended use. In the year 1999, treasure hunters equipped with metal detectors were exploring the Zigorode forest near the town of Nebra in Saxony-Anhalt, Germany. Instead of uncovering ancient coins or common metal relics, their equipment signaled the presence of something far more unusual. Buried approximately 30 centimeters beneath the surface, it was a peculiar bronze disc, roughly 30 centimeters in diameter, adorned with shimmering gold symbols ranged across its surface. The disc soon entered the clandestine world of the black market, quietly changing hands among antiquities dealers. Fortunately, authorities intervened in 2002, recovering it through a carefully orchestrated sting operation in Basel, Switzerland. Once in the hands of researchers, it quickly became apparent that this object was no ordinary Bronze Age find. It was something truly remarkable. Visually, the Nebraskai disc is striking. Its bronze surface is inlaid with gold, forming depictions of celestial symbols. The most prominent among these are a crescent moon and what appears to be a full moon, or possibly the sun. Scattered around these are numerous gold dots representing stars, along with 2 distinct gold arcs along its edges. These symbols appear to be deliberately arranged, suggesting they were intended to convey specific information, rather than serving merely as decorative patterns. Detailed analysis by astronomers revealed an unexpected degree of accuracy in the disk's celestial depiction. The arrangement of the symbols closely matches astronomical observations of the night sky over Central Europe approximately 3,600 years ago. The crescent and adjacent moon or sun likely indicate lunar phases, while the scattered dots correlate with known star formations. Most notably, one specific grouping is believed to represent the Pleiades, a star cluster historically significant for ancient societies in tracking seasonal changes. This level of celestial detail indicates that the disk's creators possessed significant astronomical knowledge and observational skills, which were quite unusual for the Bronze Age. While Bronze Age cultures were certainly familiar with basic astronomical concepts, the Nebular disk suggests a more sophisticated understanding, possibly used for marking important seasonal events such as planting or harvest times. Some scholars theorize that it could have functioned as an early form of calendar, a navigational tool, or even a device used in ceremonial rituals tied to celestial events. Indeed, understanding the precise purpose behind the disk remains a significant challenge, primarily because no written records accompany it. Many archaeologists lean towards a ceremonial interpretation, suggesting that it may have served ritualistic purposes connected to agricultural cycles. The alignments depicted on the disk seem to correlate with the solstices and equinoxes, critical periods in agrarian societies, where ceremonies and rituals celebrating agricultural productivity and seasonal transitions were common. Yet, other scholars propose a navigational function, suggesting that ancient travelers might have relied on the disk to guide them using celestial markers. Bronze Age trade networks were quite extensive, stretching across Europe, and celestial navigation would have been a practical skill. The disk's portability and precise astronomical depiction lend credibility to this interpretation. Educational purposes are also a possibility. Ancient societies often sought to pass down crucial knowledge about farming, hunting, and survival through oral storytelling or visual representations. The Nebular disk could have served as a teaching tool, illustrating the movement of celestial bodies to younger generations in an easily understandable way. Its detailed yet clear symbolism would have been perfect for instruction, ensuring that astronomical knowledge remained intact across generations. However, debates surrounding the Nebular disk are not limited solely to its intended purpose. Since its recovery, questions about its authenticity and exact age have sparked lively academic discussions. Initial radiocarbon dating of associated artifacts placed their age around 1600 BCE, strongly indicating a Bronze Age origin for the disk as well. Yet, some critics argue that the disk's exceptional condition and unique imagery suggest a more recent fabrication or alteration. The primary argument against its authenticity stems from its almost unprecedented sophistication. Compared to other known artifacts from the same period, Bronze Age societies typically left behind less intricate celestial depictions, usually restricted to carvings or simple alignments in stone circles. Such an advanced representation in metalwork is unique and thus invites skepticism. Nevertheless, detailed metallurgical studies have confirmed the disk's ancient origins. Chemical analysis identified the bronze alloy and gold sources as consistent with known Bronze Age mining and metallurgy practices in the region. Adding weight to its authenticity are the other artifacts found alongside the disk: bronze swords, axes, and bracelets, all convincingly dated to the same period. Archaeological excavations conducted after the initial recovery also verified the original find site, further solidifying the disk's historical authenticity. Today, the Nebular disk resides in the State Museum of Prehistory in Halle, Germany, where it is prominently displayed. Visitors to the museum can view it behind protective glass, carefully illuminated to highlight its delicate gold detailing. The disk has become a cultural icon, celebrated as a remarkable symbol of Bronze Age knowledge and skill. It features prominently in exhibitions and educational programs, emphasizing its importance for understanding early European societies. The Nebular disk also draws comparisons to other significant ancient celestial artifacts worldwide. It shares similarities in its demonstration of unexpected ancient astronomical knowledge with the Antikythera Mechanism discovered off the Greek coast. Although separated by centuries and different cultural contexts, both objects suggest that sophisticated celestial observation was a widespread practice in the ancient world, not restricted to well-known civilizations such as Egypt or Mesopotamia. Despite extensive studies and careful preservation, certain mysteries surrounding the disc remain unresolved. For instance, who exactly created the disc? The specific culture associated with its construction remains uncertain, as multiple groups inhabited the region during that era. Similarly, how exactly the creators acquired such precise astronomical knowledge continues to intrigue researchers. Ongoing studies combining astronomy, archaeology, and historical research hope to clarify these remaining questions. Ultimately, the Nebuchadnezzar disk's true value lies in the concrete historical insights it provides. It clearly demonstrates that Bronze Age societies in Europe possessed a deeper understanding of astronomy than previously thought, reshaping historical assumptions about the sophistication of these ancient communities. The disk's discovery also highlights the critical importance of protecting archaeological sites from illicit activities, as looting could have easily led to this remarkable artifact being lost forever. For now, museum visitors and researchers alike continue to marvel at the Nebuchadnezzar disk's celestial imagery and craftsmanship, but where that its precise origins and purpose may remain partially hidden. Yet, this very uncertainty only enhances its allure, making it one of Europe's most intriguing archaeological discoveries. Traveling from the rolling hills of central Germany to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, we encounter yet another archaeological enigma, the massive black sarcophagi discovered within the Serapeum of Saqqara, located near the iconic step pyramid of Djoser. The Serapeum is an intricate network of underground tunnels and chambers carved deep into the bedrock, specifically designed to house these colossal granite coffins. Since its initial discovery, this subterranean labyrinth has captivated archaeologists and puzzled visitors alike, primarily due to the sheer scale, complexity, and remarkable precision of the sarcophagi stored within its depths. The Serapeum was first brought to light in 1850 by the French archaeologist Auguste Mariette. Mariette had been diligently searching for ancient Egyptian artifacts when he stumbled upon a mysterious avenue of sphinxes, which unexpectedly led him directly to the hidden underground complex. Excavating further into the dimly lit tunnels, his team unearthed one of the most extraordinary and unexpected finds in Egyptian archaeology. 24 gigantic sarcophagi, each carved from a single block of granite or basalt with individual weights ranging from an astounding 60 to over 100 tons. What immediately distinguished these coffins was not just their immense size, but their incredible level of craftsmanship and near-perfect symmetry. Each sarcophagus was precisely cut and meticulously polished, exhibiting flawless edges, perfectly straight lines, and incredibly smooth surfaces, almost as if they had been shaped by modern machinery. The lids, some weighing as much as 30 tons themselves, fit so precisely onto the sarcophagi bases that even today, attempting to slip a thin sheet of paper between them is virtually impossible. Historians quickly identified the Serapeum as a burial place specifically associated with the sacred Apis bowls, animals revered in ancient Egypt as a living manifestation of the god Tom. Upon their natural death, these highly revered bowls were elaborately mummified and ceremonially interred within the Serapeum. Initially, archaeologists reasonably assumed that the massive sarcophagi were simply elaborate burial chambers intended for these sacred bovine remains. However, the mystery deepened significantly when researchers ventured to open several of these seemingly monumental coffins. To their surprise, they discovered that the sarcophagi were entirely empty, devoid of any signs of bowl remains, inscriptions, or the offerings typically found within Egyptian tombs. This curious emptiness has ignited ongoing debates among Egyptologists and historians regarding the true purpose behind the Serapeum as monumental sarcophagi. The traditional viewpoint still holds that these structures were indeed intended for ceremonial burials. Proponents of this theory argue that despite being found empty, these sarcophagi serve as ceremonial receptacles, possibly emptied by tomb robbers in antiquity or perhaps even prepared symbolically, representing a profound connection between the revered Apis bowls and the divine realm. Yet, this interpretation leaves numerous questions unanswered. Critics of the ceremonial burial theory point to several puzzling factors. Firstly, the sheer precision of the sarcophagi far surpasses that typically observed in purely ceremonial Egyptian artifacts. While Egyptian craftsmen were undoubtedly highly skilled, the level of symmetry and polished perfection found in the Serapeum's sarcophagi exceeds even the most sophisticated ancient tombs. Secondly, the logistical challenges involved in the transportation and precise placement of these colossal stone coffins are immense. With some sarcophagi weighing over 100 tons, moving them through the narrow underground corridors, and positioning them accurately within the chambers would have required methods and engineering skills that remain uncertain even with our modern understanding of ancient Egyptian capabilities. This has led to the emergence of alternative theories, suggesting that the sarcophagi might have served more functional purposes, possibly technological rather than purely ceremonial. Some researchers have speculated that the Serapeum might have functioned as a type of ancient storage facility, meticulously designed to protect important materials or items from external elements. Proponents of this idea suggest that the precision construction and airtight sealing of the sarcophagi could have been intentional, perhaps used to store organic substances, precious texts, or significant ceremonial objects intended to be preserved indefinitely. Supporters of this hypothesis point to similar examples found elsewhere in ancient Egypt, such as secure chambers beneath temples that were used to store valuable scrolls or ceremonial oils. However, these theories remain largely speculative due to the distinct lack of physical evidence or surviving documentation that explicitly describes the sarcophagi' function. While intriguing, these technological storage theories currently exist primarily within alternative historical interpretations and are often met with skepticism from mainstream archaeologists. Another persistent mystery revolves around the advanced construction techniques employed to shape, transport, and ultimately install these enormous stone coffins. Granite and basalt, the primary materials used in crafting these sarcophagi, are exceptionally hard stones, notoriously difficult to work with even by today's standards. Shaping and polishing granite to such precise dimensions and achieving such a high degree of smoothness would have required highly advanced cutting tools, sophisticated methods, and a considerable amount of time. While ancient Egyptian artisans were undoubtedly capable, significant questions linger about the exact tools and techniques they utilized to achieve such precision on such a massive scale. Transporting these colossal coffins into the narrow underground chambers of the Serapeum posed yet another formidable challenge. The corridors within the Serapeum are often narrow, winding, and even steep in certain sections. Modern engineers who have examined the site suggest that maneuvering objects of this size would have required an advanced understanding of logistics, mechanics, and meticulously coordinated labor. Egyptian records provide limited insight into these complex processes, leaving historians to theorize about the use of ramps, levers, ropes, and rollers as potential transportation methods. Still, replicating such a feat remains incredibly difficult even with modern machinery, leading some to speculate about lost engineering methods or a level of knowledge possessed by ancient Egyptians that has not been fully appreciated. Today, the Serapeum continues to attract visitors and researchers from around the globe, all drawn by a profound curiosity about its enigmatic sarcophagi and their enduring, unanswered mysteries. Visitors walking through the dimly lit, stone-carved tunnels are often struck by a profound silence, broken only by hushed murmurs of wonder and the soft echo of footsteps against the ancient stone walls. Tourists and researchers alike marvel at the sheer size, incredible precision, and lingering mystery that these massive coffins embody, sensing the immense ingenuity required for their construction. The cultural significance of the Serapeum extends far beyond mere archaeological curiosity. It serves as a powerful reflection of ancient Egypt's historical reverence for the Apis bull as a tangible embodiment of a deity and highlights the impressive lengths to which ancient Egyptians were willing to go to honor their deeply held religious and cultural beliefs. Its intricate construction also stands as an enduring testament to the remarkable capabilities and sophisticated skills of ancient Egyptian craftsmanship. Ongoing efforts continue today to more clearly understand the precise techniques and underlying intentions behind the Serapeum's massive sarcophagi. Advanced imaging technologies and non-invasive archaeological methods have been employed in attempts to discover any hidden details or previously overlooked inscriptions that might shed light on their purpose. Despite these dedicated efforts, much remains unknown about exactly who constructed the Serapeum, why such extraordinary precision was deemed necessary, and what exactly these imposing stone coffins were originally intended to contain. Ultimately, the Serapeum of Saqqara stands as one of ancient Egypt's most intriguing and enduring unsolved puzzles. Its massive black sarcophagi challenge our current understanding of ancient construction techniques and leave open a wide range of intriguing possibilities regarding their true purpose. Yet, perhaps the most captivating aspect of the Serapeum is precisely its persistent mystery. With every new discovery or archaeological development in Egypt, the site continues to invite speculation, ignite curiosity, and inspire profound admiration from all who visit or study it, quietly preserving its ancient secrets beneath the shifting sands of Egypt. Stepping away from the monumental mysteries of ancient Egypt, we now turn our attention to something far smaller in physical size, but no less baffling in its enigmatic nature. Safely housed within Yale University's Bionic Rare Book and Manuscript Library lies a peculiar medieval text known as the Voynich Manuscript. This unique book, with its intriguing and perplexing blend of an utterly mysterious language and elaborately detailed illustrations, has stubbornly resisted every concerted attempt at decipherment for more than a century, firmly establishing its reputation as arguably the world's most enigmatic and unreadable book. The manuscript first captured public attention in 1912 when an antiquarian book dealer named Wilfred Voynich acquired it as part of a larger collection of rare texts. Voynich was a seasoned collector who specialized in acquiring and selling rare and unusual books. Yet, even he recognized immediately that this particular manuscript was something truly extraordinary and unlike anything he had encountered before. Although its earlier history remained somewhat shrouded in mystery and open to debate, Voynich claimed that the manuscript had once belonged to Emperor Rudolph II, the 16th century ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, who was well known for his keen interest in alchemy and the acquisition of rare curiosities. Physically, the Voynich manuscript is not particularly imposing. Measuring roughly 23 by 16 centimeters, it resembles any typical book from the medieval period, except that its contents are anything but ordinary. Comprised of approximately 240 pages of vellum-processed animal skin, the manuscript features hundreds of strangely detailed illustrations, interspersed with text written in an unknown and utterly unfamiliar script. While the exact age of the manuscript remains a subject of some debate among scholars, radiocarbon dating conducted by Yale University has placed its creation between approximately 1404 and 1438, firmly situating it within the late medieval era. Flipping through its aged pages, readers encounter vivid and detailed illustrations that depict an unusual and often bizarre blend of subjects. There are meticulously drawn images of exotic-looking plants that defy identification with any known botanical species, intricate astronomical diagrams filled with unfamiliar celestial bodies, strangely shaped creatures that seem to belong to the realm of fantasy, and even elaborate bathing scenes featuring groups of unclothed figures engaging in various activities within complex networks of pipes and pools. Many of these images seem vaguely familiar yet subtly distorted, as if viewed through the lens of an entirely different world. But perhaps even more puzzling than the illustrations themselves is the manuscript's accompanying text. The script, often referred to as Voynichese by researchers, consists of carefully formed characters that bear a superficial resemblance to alphabetic letters. These characters flow neatly across the pages, arranged in what appear to be paragraphs and short. Moving from the puzzling pages of the Voynich manuscript, we return to Egypt, a civilization whose craftsmanship frequently astonishes, especially when we consider their earliest artifacts. Among the most impressive of these early Egyptian relics are the pre-dynastic granite vases, small yet extraordinary objects that showcase astonishing precision and craftsmanship far ahead of their time. These elegant vases date back as far as 5,000 years ago, predating even the famous pyramids. Many were discovered during excavations in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, often placed carefully within tombs alongside important Egyptian nobles and elites. The artifacts themselves are beautiful, perfectly proportioned stone vessels crafted primarily from granite, diorite, basalt, and other incredibly hard stone types. What immediately stands out is their delicate symmetry and flawless construction, displaying a level of precision typically associated with later historical periods. One of the most notable features of these vases is their extremely thin walls, often measuring mere millimeters thick. When considering the hardness of granite and similar stones, achieving such thinness without cracking or breaking would have required considerable skill and care. Modern stone carvers equipped with advanced power tools and diamond-tipped drills still find it challenging to replicate the precision of these ancient artifacts. This has led many scholars to question how ancient Egyptians managed to achieve such remarkable craftsmanship with supposedly primitive tools. Historians have carefully studied surviving ancient Egyptian toolkits, discovering copper chisels, stone mallets, and flint drills among their typical equipment. Yet even copper tools, though effective for softer stones or carving basic shapes, would quickly dull or deform against granite and basalt. This apparent gap in capability has sparked considerable debate among archaeologists, and engineers about how exactly these delicate vases were crafted. Theories often center around the use of abrasive materials such as sand or crushed quartz, combined with copper drill bits to gradually hollow out and smooth these tough stones. Experimental archaeology has provided useful insights into possible ancient techniques. Modern researchers have recreated these vases using basic copper tools paired with abrasive sand and water, gradually grinding down the hard stone. This slow and meticulous process, however, requires tremendous patience and skill. Even experienced craftspeople today note the difficulty involved in consistently maintaining the precise symmetry and thinness seen in original pre-dynastic vases. The question naturally arises regarding the purpose behind these finely made objects, given their frequent discovery in elite tombs. Some archaeologists suggest they serve primarily as ceremonial or funerary items. Ancient Egyptians held strong beliefs about the afterlife, often burying their dead alongside objects intended to be useful in the next world. These stone vases may have contained oils, perfumes, or other valuable substances offered as grave goods, symbolizing wealth and status, while their delicate craftsmanship demonstrated reverence and respect for the deceased. Indeed, the sheer effort and resources necessary for crafting these vases suggest they held significant cultural value, far exceeding mere everyday use. Such finely worked stone objects were likely expensive, indicating their owners were part of society's upper echelons. Their presence in burial chambers further supports the notion that they symbolize prestige and status, representing the deceased individual's importance within their community. However, practical uses cannot be entirely ruled out. Ancient Egyptian society was highly organized, engaging in sophisticated trade networks and craft production. The durability and non-porous nature of stone vases would have been ideal for storing valuable liquids such as perfumes, essential oils, or medicinal substances. Given that the Nile region was rich in resources like oils and resins, prized substances used both domestically and ceremonially, these vessels may also have functioned practically in storing and transporting precious commodities. Yet, even if used practically, the exceptional artistry involved points clearly to a secondary symbolic or status-driven purpose. The very possession of such an object would have communicated wealth, power, and refinement. It is easy to imagine an ancient Egyptian noble proudly displaying such finely crafted vessels during social or religious gatherings, subtly communicating their prestige to visitors, adding to their intrigue. These pre-dynastic vases frequently display consistent shapes and designs, indicating standardized production methods. While each vase is individually carved, their similarity in size and proportion suggests some form of organized, skilled artisan community operating in ancient Egypt well before recorded history. This hints at the existence of specialized craftspeople or workshops, perhaps even early guild-like structures, carefully passing down sophisticated techniques through generations. Another remarkable detail is the polished finish of these artifacts. Not only were they thin-walled and symmetrical, but they were also finely polished to achieve a smooth, glass-like texture. Achieving this would have involved additional meticulous labor using fine abrasives like sand, powdered quartz, or even animal hide to achieve their distinctive sheen. Today, pre-dynastic granite vases can be viewed in various museum collections worldwide, including the Cairo Museum and the British Museum. Visitors often remark on their beauty, surprised that such delicacy and skill existed so far back in Egyptian history, although overshadowed by later monumental achievements like the pyramids and temples. These small stone vases stand as evidence of an advanced artistic tradition and remarkable craftsmanship present from Egypt's earliest days. While significant progress has been made in understanding the methods and potential uses of these vases, some aspects remain elusive. The exact details of their manufacturing process, the nature of the craftsmen who made them, and their role within early Egyptian society still prompt considerable academic discussion and research. Nonetheless, their historical importance and aesthetic beauty ensure they remain captivating and valuable artifacts, providing tangible evidence of ancient Egyptian ingenuity and sophistication at a very early stage of civilization. Traveling from the ancient Egyptian deserts, we now shift our focus southward, journeying to the lush and rugged landscapes of South Africa. Here, nestled near the small town of Lydenburg in the province of Mpumalanga, a remarkable archaeological discovery was made, one that continues to intrigue historians and anthropologists to this day. Known simply as the Lydenburg Heads, these distinctive ceramic artifacts offer a rare glimpse into the creativity and culture of an ancient South African community. The story of the Lydenburg heads begins somewhat by chance, as many archaeological finds often do. In 1957, a young schoolboy named Carl Ludwig von Bezing was exploring his family's farmland near Lydenburg when he stumbled upon pieces of pottery protruding from an eroded hillside. Rather than dismissing them as mere fragments of everyday crockery, the young Carl Ludwig carefully collected these unusual pottery shards, sensing they might be significant. After notifying experts at the University of Cape Town, professional archaeologists visited the site and realized they had something unique on their hands. Ultimately, archaeologists unearthed 7 hollow ceramic heads believed to have been crafted around the 6th century AD, placing them at approximately 1,400 years old. The heads vary in size, the largest being roughly life-sized, while others are smaller and more compact. Each head is constructed from carefully molded clay, fire durability, and features distinctly detailed facial characteristics. Prominent eyes, clearly defined noses, and expressive mouths give the artifacts striking personalities, even though their precise function remains uncertain. A particularly captivating aspect of the Lydenburg heads is their decoration. Detailed patterns cover their surfaces, created using clay strips and tiny punctures, likely made with sharpened tools or sticks. These patterns form geometric designs and linear motifs reminiscent of tribal art forms found elsewhere in southern Africa. The intricate patterns and careful craftsmanship suggest the creators had a refined aesthetic sensibility and a strong symbolic or ritualistic intention behind their designs. Yet the purpose behind these intriguing ceramic heads remains unclear. Archaeologists have pondered numerous possibilities, each grounded in historical and cultural context. One popular interpretation is that the heads served as ceremonial masks, possibly worn during important rituals or community celebrations. Masks hold great cultural importance across many African societies, used to invoke ancestors, spirits, or deities during dances, ceremonies, and rites of passage. However, upon closer inspection, some researchers argue that these particular heads seem more decorative and less practical for actual wear. The lack of clear eye holes or attachment points for strings makes their usability as functional masks doubtful. Another theory suggests the Lydenburg heads might represent ancestor portraits or symbolic totems, carefully displayed during significant community rituals. In many African traditions, representing ancestors through art or sculpture is a powerful way to honor lineage, communicate with the spiritual world, or reinforce community identity. The expressive nature of these ceramic heads could reflect individual ancestors or influential community figures, with their prominent features emphasizing traits important to their society. Further complicating the interpretation is the presence of small animal figures and decorative elements incorporated into some of the heads. Some heads feature miniature sculpted cattle horns or animal-like protrusions, reflecting the cultural significance animals hold within many southern African communities. Cattle, in particular, symbolize wealth, status, and spiritual power throughout the region, suggesting these heads could have carried symbolic meanings related to prosperity or ancestral protection. Regional archaeological findings also provide context for the Lydenburg heads. During the time these ceramic artifacts were crafted, southern Africa witnessed the emergence of numerous farming communities practicing agriculture, animal husbandry, and sophisticated metallurgy. The creators of the Lydenburg heads likely belonged to one of these settled communities, possessing a rich cultural and artistic tradition. Unfortunately, without detailed historical records or written accounts, precisely identifying the creators remains challenging. Interestingly, similar ceramic artifacts have rarely been discovered in the region, making the Lydenburg heads even more exceptional. Their rarity suggests they might represent a localized cultural tradition, unique to this specific area around Lydenburg. Alternatively, they may reflect broader practices widespread during their era, with most other examples simply lost to time or erosion. Since their discovery, the Lydenburg heads have been carefully studied and preserved by archaeologists. Following restoration and analysis, they were transferred to the Ezekiel South African Museum in Cape Town, where they currently reside. Museum visitors today can view these captivating ceramic heads in carefully climate-controlled displays designed to protect their delicate clay structures from environmental damage. They remain popular exhibits showcasing the rich artistic traditions and creativity of ancient South African communities. Ongoing research efforts occasionally revisit the Lydenburg heads, applying modern archaeological techniques to uncover new insights. Advanced imaging methods, chemical analysis of the clay, and comparisons to broader Southern African pottery traditions have deepened our understanding of their craftsmanship and cultural context. Yet, despite detailed studies, the precise purpose and meaning behind these enigmatic heads remain open-ended, inviting continued curiosity and exploration. Overall, the Lydenburg heads represent a fascinating intersection of artistic skill, cultural symbolism, and archaeological mystery. Their intricate detailing, expressive faces, and uncertain origins captivate historians, anthropologists, and general audiences alike. While much remains unknown about their creators or the exact nature of their use, these ancient ceramic heads continue to offer a tangible connection to the creativity and traditions of early Southern African societies. From the expressive ceramic faces of ancient South Africa, our journey takes us now to Roman Europe, a place famous for its roads, baths, gladiators, and architecture. Yet among the countless artifacts from this civilization, one particularly odd object has confounded historians: the Roman dodecahedron. These curious artifacts, typically crafted from bronze, occasionally from stone, are hollow geometric objects with 12 flat pentagonal faces. Each face features a circular hole of varying diameter, and small spherical knobs decorate the corners where edges meet. Sizes vary from small enough to fit comfortably into your hand to slightly larger versions. Yet, their consistent shape and structure indicate they served a specific, intentional purpose. Since their first recorded discovery in the 18th century, around 130 of these peculiar objects have turned up across what once was the Roman Empire. They've appeared in archaeological digs scattered throughout modern-day countries like Germany, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Hungary, and even Great Britain, suggesting their use was widespread across various Roman provinces. Despite their broad geographical distribution and the consistency of their shapes and designs, not a single historical document from Roman times mentions them explicitly, leaving historians without clear evidence of their original purpose. This historical silence is particularly puzzling given the Romans' meticulous record-keeping habits. Typically, even mundane items were documented in some form, whether through inscriptions, official records, or literary references. The dodecahedron's complete absence from historical records makes their intended use especially difficult to determine, leading researchers and enthusiasts alike to explore multiple theories, ranging from the practical to the whimsical. One of the more popular theories suggests the dodecahedrons might have been measuring instruments, perhaps used by craftsmen or architects. Proponents of this interpretation point to the different sized holes on each face, proposing that these might have been used as gauges for measuring objects of varying diameters, such as rods or pipes. However, critics of this theory argue that the irregularity and imprecision of these openings, often differing slightly in shape or size from object to object, cast doubt on their effectiveness as precise measuring tools. Others speculate these items had a religious or ceremonial function. The Romans were famously superstitious, regularly consulting augurs, interpreting omens, and practicing divination. Could the Roman dodecahedrons have been a tool used by priests or diviners for predicting future events? Perhaps the object was thrown or rolled during rituals, with each face and whole size representing a different omen or outcome. While intriguing, no archaeological evidence has yet supported direct ritualistic associations. Yet another practical theory considers the dodecahedrons as calendars or astronomical devices. Some researchers propose the alignment of holes and knobs may have helped track celestial events, like the solstices, equinoxes, or star positions. Given the Romans' extensive knowledge of astronomy and their reliance on accurate calendars, this possibility feels plausible. Perhaps a more humorous, though still credible, theory posits these objects as ancient gaming items or toys. The Romans enjoyed games of chance and strategy. Could the dodecahedrons have functioned as dice or components in a game long since forgotten? This playful idea faces skepticism due to the impractical design of the knobs and differing hole sizes. A final pragmatic suggestion is that dodecahedrons were knitting or weaving tools. Modern knitting enthusiasts have tested replicas demonstrating the feasibility, though somewhat awkward, of using them to knit gloves or socks. Despite numerous scholarly and popular theories, the dodecahedrons continue to defy clear categorization. Their craftsmanship, however, is undeniably Roman, aligning with known metalwork techniques from approximately the 2nd to 4th centuries AD. Today, Roman dodecahedrons are preserved and displayed in museums throughout Europe, often presented as curiosity pieces. Despite intensive scholarly study, these humble yet intriguing objects continue to elude definitive interpretation. symbolizing the gaps in historical knowledge that persist even about well-documented civilizations like Rome. As archaeologists continue discovering and cataloging new examples, the potential for clarifying their purpose remains. Perhaps someday a Roman dodecahedron will appear in a context, providing clearer clues. For now, though, these enigmatic Roman artifacts remain one of archaeology's quietly persistent puzzles. Stepping away from the puzzling geometry of Roman dodecahedrons, our exploration now turns to one of the oldest known narratives about human survival, a narrative found etched in clay by the ancient Sumerians. This artifact, known as the Ziusudra tablet, offers a glimpse into the earliest recorded version of a familiar story, a great flood, that threatened to extinguish humanity and the lone man chosen to survive it. Ziusudra, the central figure of this ancient story, is often compared to the biblical Noah. Both characters share striking similarities, including the devastating flood, divine warnings, and survival through the building of a great vessel. Yet, Ziusudra predates the biblical account by several centuries, making the tablet a critical piece of evidence showing how deeply rooted the flood myth is within ancient Mesopotamian culture. The Ziusudra narrative first emerged from a fragmented clay tablet discovered during archaeological excavations of the Sumerian city of Nippur, located in modern-day Iraq. The tablet itself is modest in appearance, carefully inscribed in cuneiform, an ancient wedge-shaped writing system used across Mesopotamia. Upon initial discovery, the fragmentary state of the artifact posed a challenge. Crucial sections of the text had deteriorated, leaving gaps that archaeologists and linguists continue to interpret and debate. Despite its incomplete condition, scholars quickly recognized the significance of the Ziusudra text. Dating back roughly to 1700 BCE, it provided crucial evidence of how deeply entrenched flood narratives were within ancient Near Eastern cultures. Sumerian civilization, considered one of the world's earliest advanced societies, laid the foundations for later cultures such as the Babylonians, Assyrians, and eventually the Hebrews. Thus, the Ziusudra narrative is regarded as one of the earliest written flood accounts, significantly preceding and potentially influencing later stories found in Babylonian epics, and eventually the Hebrew Bible. In terms of content, the surviving portions of the Ziusudra tablet describe a divine warning given to Ziusudra, a righteous and pious king, about an impending catastrophic flood set by the gods. The reasons for the gods' decision are not fully clear, but hints in the fragmented text suggest divine frustration with humanity's behavior, echoing similar themes seen later in Babylonian and biblical traditions. Acting upon this divine instruction, Ziusudra constructs an enormous vessel capable of carrying himself, his family, and animals to safety. When the flood finally arrives, it ravages the earth, wiping out nearly all human life. After a period of enduring heavy storms and torrential rains, Ziusudra's vessel eventually comes to rest. Upon emerging, he performs rituals of thanks, dedicating offerings to the gods. As a reward for his obedience and piety, Ziusudra receives eternal life, a detail unique compared to many later flood narratives. The tablet's emphasis on divine reward aligns with common ancient Near Eastern motifs, in which loyalty and obedience toward deities lead to divine favor and blessings. One striking aspect of the Ziusudra narrative is its clear thematic continuity with flood myths across various cultures worldwide. Similar stories are found not only in the biblical book of Genesis, but also in other Mesopotamian texts, notably the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh. Additionally, cultures as geographically distant as the ancient Greeks, Native Americans, Chinese, and Australian Aboriginal peoples all have their own flood stories. The Ziusudra narrative thus holds critical value as evidence supporting the universality of flood myths, potentially reflecting a widespread ancient memory or storytelling tradition, centered around real catastrophic events such as regional flooding or natural disasters. Historically, Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was highly susceptible to catastrophic flooding. Archaeological evidence confirms periodic massive flooding capable of destroying entire cities and settlements. Such disasters would undoubtedly have become deeply embedded in collective memory, eventually evolving into mythological narratives passed down orally and later captured in written forms such as the Ziusudra tablet. This historical backdrop provides important context for interpreting the Ziusudra account. While its narrative may draw from real historical floods, scholars widely agree that the text functions primarily as a religious or moral allegory, emphasizing human vulnerability, divine authority, and the importance of obedience and piety. The inclusion of eternal life as a reward emphasizes the idea of divine reward for virtue, an influential concept in ancient societies. Yet, despite widespread scholarly acceptance of the Ziusudra narrative's mythological nature, debates continue regarding the extent to which it might reflect historical reality. Some researchers propose that the flood described may correspond to particularly catastrophic historical events, such as the flooding of the Persian Gulf at the end of the last ice age, or major river floods that would have devastated early Mesopotamian settlements. However, these remain speculative connections. Concrete historical correlation remains elusive due to fragmentary archaeological evidence. Moreover, uncertainties remain regarding the Ziusudra tablet's intended purpose. While clearly serving a narrative function, the tablet may have also had religious or ceremonial uses, potentially read or recited during rituals or festivals celebrating survival, renewal, or divine favor. For visitors encountering the Ziusudra tablet in museum exhibitions, the artifact evokes powerful imagery of an ancient world profoundly shaped by nature's forces, divine beliefs, and cultural storytelling. While its precise historical accuracy remains uncertain, its enduring cultural significance is clear. The Ziusudra narrative, through its survival over thousands of years, demonstrates humanity's persistent need to understand and explain catastrophic events, reflecting broader themes of survival, renewal, and the eternal human desire to connect with the divine. Transitioning from the ancient flood myths etched in Mesopotamian clay, our next journey brings us to medieval Japan, an era rich with tales of legendary warriors, powerful samurai clans, and perhaps most intriguingly, the remarkable swords that define them. Among the countless famous blades of Japanese history, none stand out quite like the Tenkagoken, known as the Five Heavenly Swords. These swords, considered masterpieces of Japanese metallurgy and craftsmanship, are steeped in legend, historical significance, and enduring mysteries about their whereabouts. In Japanese culture, swords have always been more than mere weapons. They hold deep symbolic importance, representing honor, authority, and the soul of a warrior. The Five Heavenly Swords are exemplary of this tradition. Crafted during Japan's Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333, these five blades were recognized not only for their exceptional quality, but also for the legendary stories and notable warriors connected to them. The swords comprising the Tenkagoken each bear their own unique names and storied histories. Jijigiri Yasutsuna, Mikazuki Munekika, Onamaru Kanetsuna, Juzumaru Tsunetsugu, and Denta Mitsuyo. They were forged by some of the most revered swordsmiths in Japanese history, renowned for their skill in creating blades of both beauty and lethal practicality. This period was a golden age for Japanese swordmaking, where craftsmanship reached unprecedented levels of quality. Jijigiri Yasutsuna, perhaps the most famous of the five, carries with it one of the most dramatic legends. According to tradition, this blade was wielded by the warrior Minamoto no Yorimitsu, known popularly as Rake. Rake is said to have slain the fearsome demon Shutenji, who terrorized the area near Kyoto. With this very sword, the blade's name, Jijigiri, translates roughly as Slayer of Ji. Commemorating its role in defeating the legendary demon, it remains preserved in excellent condition at the Tokyo National Museum, celebrated for its perfect balance, elegant curvature, and intricately tempered blade. Mikazuki Munekika is another celebrated sword within the group. Its name, Mikazuki, meaning crescent moon, reflects the graceful, curved shape of its blade. Created by the master swordsmith Sanji Munekika during the late Heian period, this sword is considered one of the finest examples of traditional Japanese swordsmithing. It is known for its subtle yet striking appearance and unparalleled balance. Historically, Mikazuki Munekika was treasured by various powerful families, passing through generations of prominent Japanese leaders and samurai clans. Today, this legendary sword resides safely in Tokyo's National Museum, carefully protected as a national treasure. Onamaru Kanetsuna, the demon sword, has a particularly colorful tail attached. Crafted by the renowned swordsmith Kanetsuna, this blade was famously used by Hiruto Kamasa, an influential regent during the Kamakura shogunate. According to legend, the sword gained its fearsome name after Tokumasa used it to ward off or exorcise malevolent spirits troubling him at night. This legendary story gave the sword a powerful cultural resonance, symbolizing its ability to overcome evil. The sword was highly valued not only for its combat capabilities, but also as a protective talisman. Despite its fame, Onamaru Kanetsuna's current whereabouts are uncertain, leading some historians to speculate it may have been lost, destroyed, or remains privately held by an unknown collector. Juzumaru Tsunetsugu, crafted by the famous smith Tsunetsugu, is historically linked with Nichiren, the influential Buddhist priest who founded Nichiren Buddhism in Japan during the 13th century. The name Juzumaru originates from Buddha's prayer beads. Symbolizing spiritual protection and purity, Nichiren himself reportedly possessed or used the blade as a spiritual tool rather than a weapon, further enhancing its symbolic importance. Today, the sword remains preserved at the Honkuji Temple, closely tied to the Nichiren Buddhist tradition, drawing visitors intrigued by its religious significance. Finally, Denna Mitsuyo is perhaps the most elusive of the 5 heavenly swords. Forged by Mitsuyo, a renowned smith whose blades were celebrated for their strength and quality, the sword gained fame through association with prominent historical figures. One such figure, Maeda Tashi, a powerful feudal lord during the Sengoku period, was known to have possessed this sword. Records mention Denna Mitsuyo being passed down through important families, but its exact current location remains unclear, shrouded in mystery. Scholars debate whether it survives today in a private collection or has been permanently lost due to historical upheavals. The process behind crafting these blades demonstrates the advanced metallurgy and careful craftsmanship of Japanese swordsmiths. Making a sword of this caliber required weeks or months of dedicated labor, involving meticulous selection and folding of steel, precision hammering, careful tempering, and precise polishing techniques. Each blade combines strength, flexibility, and sharpness in perfect harmony, characteristics necessary for samurai in battle. Japanese swords such as the Tenkagoken weren't merely weapons. They represented artistic masterpieces, cultural icons, and powerful status symbols. Possessing one of these swords elevated a warrior's prestige, connecting them symbolically to a lineage of legendary samurai and historical heroes. The cultural reverence for these blades persists to this day, as modern collectors and institutions recognize their historic and aesthetic value. Their mysterious status adds significantly to their allure. While Jinchigiri Yasutsuna, Mikazuki Munekika, and Juzumaru Tsunetsugu have verified locations, Onamaru Kanetsuna and Denna Mitsuyo remain enigmas, their fates unknown. Historical turmoil, such as civil wars, political shifts, and natural disasters likely contributed to their disappearance. Some scholars propose they remain secretly preserved in private hands or temples, while others believe they may have been lost permanently due to historical destruction or misfortune. Today, the known Tenkagoken swords are carefully preserved as national treasures within museums and temples, drawing admiration from historians, martial artists, and cultural enthusiasts. Their occasional public displays attract thousands who marvel at the beauty and history these blades encapsulate. The lost swords remain subjects of popular intrigue, fueling ongoing interest and speculation about their whereabouts. The Tenkagoken symbolize a significant chapter in Japan's historical and cultural narrative. The swords reflect the nation's complex intertwining of warfare, artistry, spirituality, and mythology, uniquely encapsulating the essence of samurai culture and traditional Japanese craftsmanship. As we leave behind the legendary samurai blades of Japan, we now travel across continents to Africa, specifically to Nigeria, home to one of the most fascinating yet least understood ancient societies, the Nok culture, known primarily for their distinctive terracotta sculptures. The Nok civilization flourished in what is now central Nigeria from roughly 1500 BCE to 500 CE, placing them among the earliest known complex cultures in sub-Saharan Africa. The discovery of Nok artifacts occurred somewhat by accident, as often happens in archaeology. In 1928, 10 miners working near the village of Nok stumbled upon something unexpected: beautifully crafted terracotta heads buried beneath layers of soil. Initially, the miners considered these sculptures merely curiosities, intriguing but not necessarily significant. However, the importance of these artifacts became apparent over subsequent decades as more systematic excavations began to uncover a wide variety of Nok terracotta figures throughout the region. The Nok terracotta sculptures themselves are remarkable in their craftsmanship. They predominantly depict human heads, busts, and occasionally full figures, displaying exaggerated features such as almond-shaped eyes, broad noses, detailed hairstyles, and elaborate jewelry. Some of the figures possess serene expressions, while others have more enigmatic or intense gazes. This variety gives each sculpture an individual personality, showcasing the artistic sophistication and technical skill of Nok artisans. It's easy to appreciate these artifacts for their visual elegance alone, yet their significance runs deeper, particularly in what they reveal about the society that produced them. Historically, The Nok civilization inhabited an area rich in resources, notably iron ore. Recent archaeological findings suggest that the Nok people were among the earliest iron smelting communities in sub-Saharan Africa, making them key players in the region's development and technological advancement. They utilized iron tools for agriculture, hunting, and daily life, activities that would have allowed the Nok population to thrive for many generations. Despite clear evidence of technical skill and cultural sophistication, much about the Nok culture remains uncertain, largely because of limited archaeological context. Many sculptures have been recovered as isolated finds, separated from their original settings, which makes it challenging for archaeologists to interpret their intended use. Excavations typically reveal scattered artifacts without clear connections to specific buildings or ceremonial sites, leaving experts guessing about their original function. Some scholars speculate that Nok terracotta served a religious or ritualistic purpose, possibly depicting ancestral spirits, deities, or revered community figures. The stylized nature of the sculptures, emphasizing prominent facial features, could reflect cultural ideas of beauty, spiritual power, or social status. The frequent depiction of elaborate hairstyles and jewelry might also indicate a hierarchical society with clearly defined roles, positions, or classes. However, without written records or clear archaeological context, these interpretations remain theories rather than certainties, adding to the intrigue. Nok artists seem to have deliberately placed holes or perforations in various figures, particularly around the mouth, nose, and ears. This intriguing design element might indicate a practical use, such as ventilation during the firing process, or perhaps a symbolic function linking these terracotta figures to practices involving offerings, rituals, or ceremonies. Unfortunately, definitive answers remain elusive due to the lack of concrete archaeological evidence. Another fascinating aspect of Nok culture involves its advanced ironwork technology. Archaeologists have uncovered furnaces and slag deposits dating back to around 500 BCE, providing clear evidence of early iron smelting. This technological advancement likely had a profound impact on agriculture, warfare, and daily life, making the Nok people influential throughout West Africa. Still, despite the clear evidence of ironwork, there's little to suggest exactly how iron technology influenced Nok's cultural or artistic developments, including their terracotta creations. Interestingly, the Nok civilization seems to have disappeared quite abruptly around 500 CE, leaving behind only scattered artifacts. Various theories attempt to explain this sudden disappearance. Some historians propose environmental factors such as prolonged drought or climate shifts might have forced migrations or disrupted agricultural production, leading to societal collapse. Others speculate internal conflict, epidemics, or external pressures from neighboring communities as potential causes. However, concrete evidence supporting any single explanation remains sparse. The limited archaeological records surrounding Nok society also raise questions about how they managed to sustain their culture and economy over such an extended period. Their artistic style remained remarkably consistent across centuries, indicating a stable, cohesive community with strong cultural traditions. Yet despite the evident sophistication of their terracotta sculptures and advanced ironwork technology, almost nothing is known about Nok governance, social organization, or religious beliefs. In recent decades, archaeologists have employed new methods to gain insight into Nok culture. Excavations now use advanced technologies such as remote sensing, detailed soil analysis, and dating techniques in hopes of better understanding Nok settlements and artifact contexts. Although these efforts have produced valuable insights, like evidence of residential and communal structures, many questions remain unanswered today. Nok artifacts are carefully preserved and displayed prominently in museums around the world, particularly in Nigeria's National Museum in Lagos. They hold significant cultural importance, representing some of the earliest examples of sub-Saharan African art and craftsmanship. International recognition of Nok terracottas as vital pieces of world heritage has elevated awareness and appreciation of African ancient history and artistic contributions globally. Moreover, the Nok civilization's artistic influence might have persisted long after its disappearance. Researchers point to stylistic similarities between Nok sculptures and later West African art, particularly those produced by the Yoruba, Benin, and Igbo peoples. This continuity suggests that Nok's cultural and artistic traditions could have influenced subsequent generations directly or indirectly, shaping West African artistic heritage. Yet, despite modern research, the Nox civilization largely remains a historical mystery. Its artifacts are recognized internationally for their artistic quality, but their creators remain unidentified. From the ancient terracotta sculptures of the Nox civilization in Africa, we journey back across continents and seas to a discovery made deep beneath the waters of the Mediterranean Sea. Near the small Greek island of Antikythera, sponge divers uncovered something extraordinary, a remarkable artifact now famously known as the Antikythera Mechanism. This enigmatic object has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and engineers alike since its unexpected discovery, representing one of the most astonishing examples of ancient technological ingenuity. The story of the Antikythera Mechanism begins in the spring of 1900, when a group of Greek sponge divers encountered a violent storm off Antikythera Island. Seeking shelter, they anchored near the island's coast. While diving, they stumbled upon an underwater wreck that appeared ancient, filled with scattered bronze and marble artifacts lying amongst rocky crevices. The wreck was soon confirmed to be a Roman era ship, probably sunk around 70 to 60 BCE while transporting valuable Greek cargo, including statues, luxury items, and bronze objects destined for the Roman elite. Among the retrieved artifacts, one particular object stood out. Initially dismissed as a corroded bronze lump, it wasn't until months later that researchers recognized this artifact's significance. Upon closer examination, this lump of corroded metal revealed intricate gears, dials, and inscriptions. It was clear the object was not merely decorative or ceremonial. It was mechanical, deliberately engineered, and astonishingly sophisticated. The device became known as the Antikythera Mechanism, widely considered the world's earliest known analog computer. At first glance, this device appears somewhat unassuming, especially after centuries underwater left it heavily encrusted and damaged. But beneath corrosion layers lay an intricate network of interlocking bronze gears. Carefully crafted and astonishingly precise, these gears were not simply decorative. They were meticulously engineered to calculate celestial movements and astronomical phenomena, making it a complex and surprisingly accurate astronomical calculator. Historical studies placed the mechanism's creation between 150 and 100 BCE, a time when ancient Greece had reached remarkable scientific heights. This was the era of Greek thinkers like Hipparchus and Archimedes, whose profound contributions to mathematics, astronomy, and engineering greatly influenced subsequent civilizations. The device itself, once cleaned and carefully studied, proved astonishingly complex, far beyond what historians had previously thought possible for its time. Researchers using advanced imaging techniques, including X-ray computed tomography, revealed over 30 interlocking bronze gears hidden within the heavily corroded artifact. These gears were designed to predict the movements of the sun, moon, and known planets, to track lunar phases, eclipses, and even to model the complex irregularities in the moon's orbit, demonstrating an impressive grasp of astronomical knowledge and mechanical engineering. On its front face, the Antikythera Mechanism had dials marking zodiac positions, months, and lunar phases. On its back, additional dials and scales allowed users to track solar and lunar eclipses and calculate the timing of significant ancient Greek events such as the Olympic Games. Remarkably, the inscriptions on its dials were written in Greek, providing instructions and explanations of how the device operated, confirming it as an advanced educational and practical tool, rather than merely an ornamental object. Yet, despite understanding its mechanical complexity and astronomical accuracy, questions about the Antikythera Mechanism's purpose and intended use persist. Scholars generally agree it functioned as a sophisticated astronomical calculator, possibly intended for teaching astronomy, navigation, or even astrology. Some historians speculate it was designed to help seafarers and travelers predict celestial phenomena for practical navigation. Others propose a ceremonial or educational use, perhaps as a demonstration of advanced Greek scientific achievements. Comparisons to similar artifacts or historical accounts offer limited clarity. Although ancient texts occasionally describe mechanical or astronomical devices, such as Archimedes' famed sphere, no other ancient artifact resembling the complexity of the Antikythera Mechanism has ever been found. This uniqueness adds significantly to its mystery, prompting questions about whether such mechanical knowledge was widespread or limited to a specialized group of Greek craftsmen and scholars. The device's craftsmanship suggests its creators possessed an advanced understanding of both astronomy and engineering, indicating a collaboration between astronomers, mathematicians, and skilled artisans. However, despite identifying possible cultural and historical contexts, the exact inventor or workshop responsible remains uncertain. The Antikythera Mechanism also raises fascinating questions about the broader impact and survival of ancient Greek technological knowledge. Its existence suggests that mechanical devices and analog calculators were more advanced and widespread in ancient Greece than previously understood. Today, the Antikythera Mechanism is carefully preserved in Athens at the National Archaeological Museum, where it remains a highlight of their extensive collection. Museum visitors frequently marvel at the intricacy of its gears and the astonishing scientific sophistication of ancient Greek civilization. Scholars and historians continue studying the artifact, using advanced imaging technology and computer modeling to better understand its functions and historical implications. Modern reconstructions have demonstrated the mechanism's practical functionality, accurately replicating its ability to predict celestial events. These reconstructions provide valuable educational tools, allowing contemporary audiences to appreciate firsthand the remarkable capabilities of ancient Greek science and engineering. Despite extensive research and reconstruction efforts, key mysteries remain. Who precisely invented and constructed this ancient computer? How widespread was its use in ancient Greek society? And why haven't similar devices been discovered elsewhere? Such unanswered questions continue inspiring further research, archaeological exploration, and academic debate. Ultimately, the Antikythera Mechanism symbolizes ancient Greece's advanced scientific achievements and sophisticated engineering capabilities, shifting our focus from the sophisticated gears and celestial mysteries of ancient Greece's Antikythera Mechanism. We now arrive on the island of Crete, a Mediterranean crossroads rich in history and archaeological treasures. Here, amidst the ruins of a Minoan palace, archaeologists uncovered one of the most enigmatic artifacts ever discovered, the Phaistos disc. This peculiar clay artifact has intrigued scholars, linguists, and history enthusiasts alike for more than a century, largely because it bears inscriptions in a script that remains undeciphered to this day. The discovery of the Phaistos disc occurred in 1908 during excavations at the ancient palace complex near the town of Phaistos in southern Crete. Italian archaeologist Luigi Pernier, who led the excavation, came across the small disc buried among other artifacts beneath layers of rubble. The palace site, originally dating from around 1700 to 1600 BCE, was a significant center of the Minoan civilization, known for its remarkable artistic achievements, vibrant culture, and far-reaching influence across the Mediterranean region. The Phaistos disc itself is relatively modest in size, measuring about 16 centimeters in diameter and approximately 2 centimeters thick. Fashioned from fired clay, it is carefully and symmetrically crafted with a finely smooth surface. What immediately captures attention, however, is the intriguing spiral inscription covering both sides of the disc, stamped into the clay using individual, reusable characters. The inscriptions form a unique spiral pattern, spiraling inward from the outer edge to the center, creating an aesthetically pleasing but perplexing arrangement. This inscription contains 141 individual symbols comprising 45 distinct pictographic characters, arranged into sequences separated by short vertical lines. The characters themselves depict diverse objects including human figures, animals, plants, and various abstract forms. Some recognizable symbols include helmets, shields, fish, tools, and what seem like houses or ships, each carefully stamped into the clay, reflecting careful craftsmanship and methodical design. Despite their visual clarity, however, the meaning behind these pictographs and their overall linguistic significance remain entirely unknown. Efforts to decipher the Phaistos disc have fascinated linguists and historians for decades, yet the artifact stubbornly resists interpretation. While numerous theories and decoding attempts have emerged, consensus remains elusive. One challenge to decipherment lies in the uniqueness of the artifact. No similar script or language has been found elsewhere in Crete or throughout the broader Mediterranean region. Unlike Linear A or Linear B scripts discovered elsewhere on Crete, which are partially deciphered or better understood, the Phaistos disc script appears wholly unrelated, leaving linguists puzzled. Historical context provides only limited clues. The disc's discovery within a Minoan palace suggests it might be linked to the sophisticated and culturally vibrant Minoan society known for its elaborate palaces, trading networks, and artistic achievements. Yet without additional examples or clear context, pinpointing its intended function proves challenging. Scholars continue to debate whether it represented everyday communication, ceremonial significance, or even something more mundane like an administrative record or a calendar. Several compelling theories about the artifact's purpose have emerged, offering various interpretations based on archaeological context, cultural practices, and historical comparisons. One popular theory is that the disc served a religious or ceremonial function, possibly containing hymns, prayers, or religious chants. The spiral arrangement might symbolize religious journeys, cosmological beliefs, or ritualistic processes. Another possibility is that the disc functioned as a historical or administrative document. The carefully stamped characters could represent names, places, goods, or transactions, perhaps documenting a significant event, trade agreement, or tribute record. A third theory, somewhat less conventional, suggests that the disc might have served a recreational or gaming function. The spiral layout and clear divisions could indicate movement spaces or counting methods used in an ancient board game. Despite multiple interpretations, none has gained universal acceptance, primarily due to the disc's uniqueness. Its script itself is notably sophisticated, using reusable character stamps to imprint clay, a printing technique considered surprisingly advanced for its time. This implies the existence of a systematic approach to writing or communication, possibly indicating broader literacy or specialized Scrabble practices within Minoan society. Currently, the Phaistos disc is preserved and displayed in the Heraklion Archaeological Museum on Crete, attracting visitors intrigued by its enigmatic inscriptions and historical significance. It is recognized as one of the museum's premier artifacts, representing a significant chapter in Cretan and Mediterranean archaeological history. Archaeologists remain hopeful that future discoveries in Crete or nearby regions could someday provide vital clues about the artifact's origin, purpose, and meaning. Until then, however, the Phaistos disc remains an exceptional archaeological enigma, fascinating precisely because of its persistent refusal to be easily interpreted. It continues to hold significant cultural and historical value, symbolizing humanity's persistent fascination with mysterious artifacts and unknown languages. Its spiral script, enigmatic symbols, and archaeological context offer valuable insights into ancient Mediterranean civilizations, reminding us of the complexity and ingenuity possessed by ancient cultures like the Minoans. Moving on from the undeciphered mysteries of the Phaistos disc, we now shift our attention to a Roman artifact that puzzles historians and scientists alike, not due to obscure inscriptions, but because of its unique physical properties. This remarkable item, known as the Lycurgus Cup, was crafted in ancient Rome around the 4th century CE and stands out among ancient glassware for a striking and puzzling characteristic. It changes color dramatically under different lighting conditions. The Lycurgus Cup was first documented in the collections of the 19th century French nobleman Lionel de Rothschild. Its origins prior to Rothschild remain unclear, though many speculate it was recovered from Roman archaeological sites during 18th century excavations. Today, it resides safely in the British Museum, intriguing visitors with its unusual beauty and mysterious craftsmanship. At first glance, the cup is an elegantly crafted Roman drinking vessel, approximately 16 centimeters in height, intricately adorned with relief carvings depicting the mythological king Lycurgus. In Greek mythology, Lycurgus was a ruler who challenged the god Dionysus, resulting in his own downfall. On the cup, detailed reliefs vividly portray the scene of Lycurgus trapped by grapevines, a symbolic punishment for his defiance. But what truly captivates scholars and museum visitors alike is the vessel's remarkable optical phenomenon. In regular ambient light, the Lycurgus Cup appears jade green, opaque yet beautifully detailed. However, when illuminated from behind or within, the cup dramatically shifts its hue to a luminous, deep red, displaying a vivid translucence that seems astonishingly modern. This remarkable optical transformation, known scientifically as dichroism, is rare among ancient artifacts and represents one of the earliest known examples of color-changing glass. Scientific analysis reveals that this remarkable property is due to the cup's unique composition, incorporating microscopic particles of gold and silver within its glass matrix. These tiny metal nanoparticles, each far smaller than the width of a human hair, are dispersed throughout the glass in such a way that they interact differently with light, depending on its direction. In modern terms, this represents an ancient form of nanotechnology, demonstrating a surprising level of scientific sophistication. The presence of these metallic nanoparticles puzzled researchers when first discovered, as it implies that Roman craftsmen had an advanced understanding of materials and their optical properties. The exact techniques by which they achieved this remarkable effect remain uncertain. Ancient glassmaking typically involved heating and blending silica with various metallic oxides or additives to produce different colors, but achieving consistent nanoparticle dispersion of gold and silver at precisely the right scale requires careful control of temperature and material ratios, a capability historians previously believed was beyond Roman artisans. Historical records and artifacts suggest Roman glassmakers experimented extensively with colorants, but surviving Roman glass artifacts rarely show evidence of the precise nanoparticle technology demonstrated in the Lycurgus Cup, making this artifact exceptionally unusual. This has led researchers to wonder how the Romans might have stumbled upon or deliberately engineered this unique optical effect. Some scholars suggest accidental discovery may have played a role. Others propose it was the result of intentional experimentation by highly skilled artisans, working with elite patrons who demanded increasingly impressive decorative effects. The cup's imagery, depicting Lycurgus's punishment, may also provide insights into its cultural significance. Dionysus, the god whom Lycurgus defied, was associated with wine and revelry. It seems fitting, then, that a cup changing from green to wine red would have symbolic resonance in a culture strongly connected to wine consumption. Wealthy Romans frequently held elaborate feasts and drinking parties, and luxury drinking vessels served practical and symbolic roles, indicating status, wealth, and cultural sophistication. The Lycurgus Cup's imagery of mythological punishment also aligns with Roman moralistic themes, serving perhaps as a symbolic warning against hubris or defiance of divine authority. Today, the Lycurgus Cup prompts continuing research and debate among historians, archaeologists, and material scientists, each intrigued by the artifact's technological sophistication and historical implications. Yet, despite decades of study, the Lycurgus Cup retains much of its original mystery, a silent testament to the creativity and ingenuity of its ancient creators. Ultimately, the Lycurgus Cup represents an exceptional example of Roman glassmaking artistry and scientific achievement. From the fascinating craftsmanship and cosmic origins of Tutankhamun's dagger, we now shift focus toward a much-debated religious artifact of European origin, the Shroud of Turin, housed securely within Turin Cathedral in Italy. The shroud is perhaps one of Christianity's most enigmatic relics, intriguing both the faithful and the skeptical alike. The Shroud of Turin is a linen cloth measuring approximately 4.4 meters long and 1.1 meters wide, bearing a faint, ghostly imprint of a human figure. Believers assert that the image represents Jesus Christ himself, capturing the moment following his crucifixion. Indeed, the cloth clearly depicts a human form with visible markings resembling wounds from nails, thorns, and scourging, all consistent with accounts of the crucifixion described in the New Testament. Its significance thus extends far beyond mere historical interest, placing the shroud among Christianity's most revered religious relics. Historical records regarding the shroud's origins first appear in the mid-14th century, with documentation indicating its presence in Liry, France. At this time, the shroud was displayed publicly, attracting pilgrims who believed it held sacred significance. The exact details of how the shroud arrived in France remain unclear, though some researchers suggest it could have traveled through religious or military networks. During the Crusades, throughout subsequent centuries, the shroud passed through various noble hands and religious institutions, eventually reaching Turin in 1578. The image on the shroud itself has fascinated observers since its first public exhibitions. Initially difficult to perceive clearly, it became dramatically more visible in 1898 when Italian photographer Secondo Pia captured the first photograph of the shroud, to Pia's surprise. Photographic negatives revealed a detailed, strikingly realistic human figure. This unexpected photographic reversal sparked immediate public and scholarly interest, leading to ongoing scientific investigation and intense debate about the shroud's authenticity and origins. One of the most significant scientific studies occurred in 1988, when scientists performed radiocarbon dating tests on small fabric samples from the shroud. These tests indicated the cloth dated from approximately the 13th or 14th century CE, aligning closely with the earliest documented historical records of its existence. Critics of the shroud's authenticity argue that this dating conclusively identifies the shroud as a medieval artifact rather than a genuine relic from Christ's era. Yet, the carbon dating findings have not gone unchallenged. Advocates for authenticity contend that the samples tested were from sections repaired during medieval times, potentially skewing test results. Some suggest contamination from centuries of handling, fires, or exposure could have altered carbon levels, thereby impacting dating accuracy. Beyond the dating controversies, scientific interest also centers on the method used to create the image. The shroud's depiction is notably subtle, consisting primarily of variations in fabric coloration rather than applied pigment or paint. Close examinations conducted by modern techniques, such as spectroscopy, microscopy, and chemical analyses have failed to identify clear evidence of known artistic methods. No traces of typical medieval pigments, dyes, or brushwork are evident, challenging theories suggesting straightforward artistic fabrication. Because of this absence of clear artistic technique, alternative hypotheses have emerged, ranging from natural chemical reactions between body fluids and fabric to intentional medieval photography-like processes involving primitive light-sensitive methods. Yet each hypothesis struggles to provide convincing, consistent explanations that account fully for all details observed on the shroud. Consequently, the mechanism behind the image's formation remains an unresolved puzzle, prompting continued research and speculation. Further complicating the historical picture is the lack of clear documentation. Before the 14th century, while some advocates claim the shroud corresponds to ancient texts referring to a mandy lion or a cloth bearing Christ as image from earlier centuries, historical connections remain uncertain and debated. No definitive records directly linking the shroud to biblical events or early Christian communities have yet surfaced, complicating efforts to establish clear provenance. Today, the Shroud of Turin resides securely in Turin Cathedral, carefully protected within a sealed, climate-controlled case. Public exhibitions remain rare, generally occurring only during special religious events or at intervals of several decades, further enhancing public interest in attendance when the cloth is displayed. Scholarly and scientific investigation continues actively, with researchers employing advanced technologies such as digital imaging, DNA analysis, and further textile studies. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the mysteries of the ancient world. From the perfectly shaped stone spheres in Costa Rica, the legendary Devil's Bible, to the enigmatic Shroud of Turin, each artifact reveals fascinating glimpses into humanity's ingenuity, beliefs, and unsolved secrets. But what do you think? Is there a historical mystery that particularly captured your imagination? Which artifact sparked your curiosity the most? Share your thoughts, theories, or questions in the comments below. We love hearing from you, and if you enjoyed unraveling these historical puzzles with us, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the fascinating unknown.